Did you know that you have superpowers? Now, two people say this. One is Jesus, and two, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Now, you've been following me. I've been talking about this book a couple times now. We talked about how prayer works, about electromagnetic fields around you. We talked about how you can bond with other people through the same energy and wavelength, thought pattern. And we talked about the power of prayer and how strong it is. Now, like I said before in other videos, there are four important things to note about this book. For one, in that book, what us Christians know as the Spirit, he calls the unified field. Two, what we call God, he calls the intelligence of that unified field. Three, the thoughts are electric and they cause the electromagnetic wave around your body. Four, your emotions are magnetic and they pull things, whatever you want, from the unified field. Last thing Joe said about this is concerning the law of attraction, which I'll get deeper into in another video. But here you can see how emotions and thoughts plus intentions play and work together. Dr. Joe Dispenza says elevated emotions, while being paired with a clear intention, will pull what you want from the unified field, which can also be known as praying to God. Now you see here on the left of me, you need certain emotions. You need extremely positive emotions. Feeling of free, grateful, love, joyfulness, a love to be alive. And be feeling depressed, angry, and sad. Just doesn't work that way. Now over here to my right, these are your goals, what you want. But Dr. Joe says you have to act and feel and be as if you already have them. You must treat yourself like you already have it, and you must feel the joy and the love of having it. Joe Dispenza kind of sounds like he's asking you to be a little bit of a delusional person. But now let's see what Jesus got to say about it. In Matthew 17:20, we have Jesus telling his disciples why they couldn't cast out a demon. He says it's because of their unbelief. Then we hear the famous line about the mustard seed. He goes on to tell them that they can even move mountains and that nothing would be impossible for them if they just believed. And Mark 11:23, he basically says the same thing. He puts an emphasis on having no doubt while you pray, having no doubt in their heart. And what does he say at the bottom? Shall believe which those things which he has said shall come to pass. He shall have whatever he has said. Meaning, kind of just like what Joe said, you have to believe that you already have it in order to get it. You kind of got to be a little bit delusional to get it. And in the very next verse, Jesus says, when you pray, believe that you have received it and you shall have it. Just plainly says it right there. Now, if you can understand this and also understand Joe Dispenza, it brings a lot of context to that earlier story in Mark when Jesus had to stop that storm. They had to wake Jesus up to stop that storm. Jesus was kind of mad about it. He stopped it real easy. Do you remember what he said at the end? He called them fearful, asked them why they were scared, and then he said they had no faith, which is something he said a lot, but it almost comes off kind of like an insult because they've been traveling with Jesus. If they just believed and had no doubt, they could move mountains. They could have stopped the storm themselves. That's why Jesus said they're fearful. They don't have the right emotions in their heart. That's why he said they had no faith, because they didn't have the right thought process. So they couldn't stop the storm. And if you understand that, it brings even more context to the story about Peter and Jesus walking on water. You see, when Jesus walked on water, so did Peter, for like 2 seconds. You see, initially, Peter walked on water. When he seen Jesus, he felt this joy and this happiness, those right emotions. His only thought process was going to Jesus. That was his only desire. Clear intention, good heart, positive emotion. He was able to walk on water. But look at the next verse. When the winds blew, Peter got what? He got afraid. He lost that positivity. He stopped being joyful. He stopped being happy to see Jesus. He started being scared instead. His fear replaced his positive emotion. And right after that, he started to sink. Now, Jesus saves him, of course, But is what's so telling is what happens when he does save him, or what he says. Jesus calls him, "Oh, ye a little faith." Then he says, "What? Why did you doubt? You have little faith and you doubted." When he had no doubt and all he wanted to do was come to Jesus, Peter was capable of walking on water. But as soon as he got afraid, he couldn't. You can literally do anything as long as you have no doubt in your heart and you have clear intention, faith. And lastly, this brings us to my favorite Bible verse actually. It's Jesus kind of being sarcastic. In Matthew 6:27, Jesus asks a couple people, could they add a couple feet to their height? Like if you're 5 foot, he says, which of you, by taking thought, can add a cubit unto their stature? Meaning like if you're 5'3", could you think about it and then make yourself 6'5"? Which is kind of sarcastic and silly. Jesus moves on from that very quickly, but if you understand everything we just talked about, it's not really sarcasm and it's not really silly. And it's only sarcastic and silly to the people that don't know. And it's actually showing Jesus's realm of thinking versus how the average person was thinking back then. And that's why I love it. Also, you can grow just by thinking about it. It's kind of funny, but stay prayed up and stay with God.